Hey, I'm And.
And I'm Beck.
And we are the Gold Diggers, because we believe there's gold found in everyone.
Everyone is unique, interesting and exciting with a great story to share.
And we aim to find it.
The question is, can we rise to the challenge and strike gold? Stay tuned to find out as we chat to today's mystery guest.
Honey, you're my sugar.
So welcome back. And if you were following along in our podcast last week, you would have heard from Kerryn and Nicola, our bodybuilders.
And we've got both ladies in the room with us today, so we're going to continue on our conversation from last week. So listen in. So outside of bodybuilding, what are the things that bring you joy?
I love the beach.
Yes.
The beach is my happy place. I'll often go to the gym in the mornings. I'll go even travel as far as the Gold Coast, go to the gym, go for a long walk along the beach, and then just take my time and lay down and just zone out there.
Yeah.
We live in a beautiful part of the world that you can actually get to do that, don't we?
Yeah,
And Kerryn, what's your
I love-
hobbies? And
I'll be following you down a slope on a snowboard. Maybe not at 70k an hour. Close to it.
That was when I was in my 20s. Certainly won't be doing that now.
Yeah, I was only snowboarding 4 weeks ago. It's terrible snow, but yeah. So snowboarding and traveling. We also, my husband and I, very fascinated with Volkswagens. So, and the rattier, the better. So,
you might like mine. It's up for sale. So if you want to buy it, it's there.
It's a Beetle.
It's a VW Beetle.
Yeah, we've got a Beetle. That's
Yeah,
all.
right.
Yep.
I think it's a 59. It's one of the last ones they made in Germany.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
still got all the
definitely.
patina, original patina and everything. Yes. Okay, just talk to me later.
We've had about 19 Volkswagens in our time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
That really is a passion, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more my husband. Like,
They're
if I want to spend
cute.
time with my husband, you have to kind of learn about Volkswagens.
Do you know
Yeah.
my first car that I ever wanted was a convertible red VW. And my father-in-law actually, before I married his son, actually bought one because he knew that I loved him. And he said, Beck, I've got this. I'm going to sell it, but I want to offer it to you first. And I had to make the decision between the car or a wedding dress. I chose the wedding dress. But yeah,
Good choice.
anyway, it was a good choice. I'm glad I chose the wedding dress.
Oh, that's gold.
And do I detect an accent
No.
with you?
Oh, North Queensland.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Bogan, North Queensland. No. It's funny with the Volkswagens. My husband's proud moment is he's never sold a Volkswagen for less than he paid for it. So it's a little bit of his little investment-y type endeavor, I guess. But what I love about it is just the people we meet. There was this one time we had a Volkswagen bus that we were camping in, and we were just driving along the highway, and there was a big scary Maori fella who kind of pulled up next to us. So he's a really big guy, and he's beeping his horn, and we pulled over, and he jumped out of his car and he goes, "Hey mate," he said, "I see you've got Volkswagens." He said, "My brother needs some money and he's got a Volkswagen for sale. I don't suppose you want to buy it." And Nathan went, "Yeah, all right. Okay, yeah, we'll buy it." So we met this stranger on the side of a road whose brother needed to sell his Volkswagen for some cash, and we ended up with another Volkswagen. So, yeah, just the
You
coolest
thought he was
people.
gonna
Have you
beat
got enough grounds to house all these Volkswagens?
It got out of hand at one point, so there was about 5 at one point, but we're now down to a one Beetle, one Volkswagen, one Combi. So,
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So-
Beautiful.
and patina, both
iconic.
patina. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
neighbours look at it and go, "Are you going to restore those?" I go, "Nope."
Oh,
Nope.
I have to show you ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might like it.
So I'm interested to know, Kerryn, you said it was 44 that you got into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're training, so you've obviously progressed pretty fast
No, not like Nicola. So Nicola's, I don't know, you're genetically quite muscular, aren't you? Yeah. No, I'm what's known as a hard gainer. I can drop weight. So a good bodybuilder puts on muscle and can get really lean. I can get lean. That's my superpower.
Yeah.
Building muscle is not my superpower. So
Right.
I have to be really quite diligent and not miss a opportunity to build muscle. And there's certain things that you do about protein intake and the way you train to make sure that you maximise every little
But I'm
possibility.
interested because you're obviously 44 when you started this. This is normally when people are sort of in that perimenopause stage.
Yeah.
And, you know, your strength starts falling.
Yeah.
And so what made you start at that point in your life? And have you noticed the difference?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in terms of our listeners are probably in that sort of, a number of our listeners would be in that sort of age range. And to think of getting into bodybuilding at that point in life is quite a remarkable thing.
Yeah. Building strength is it's irrelevant of how old you are. You'll build muscle. Yep, it absolutely gets harder the older you get. And certainly once you get to 50, you start facing into sarcopenia, which is muscle, age-related muscle. So it's actually even more important the older you get that the more you lift heavy things and eat protein. All right. So I look at my entire life, and apart from when I was a swimmer in high school, this is the healthiest, the strongest I've ever been in my entire life. I can bend over and pick things up and I don't hurt anywhere, whereas in my 20s and my 30s I did actually feel sore. So and it's not to take away from menopause or any of those hormonal things that happen. They absolutely do. But I believe a lot of what we think around the way our bodies are behaving are a direct reflection of the way we've treated them for so long. So if you're active, the more active you are, the better for your health, right?
Yeah.
And you can kind of go, but I didn't have to. I often hear lots of my clients say, I didn't have to work hard when I was younger. I said, yeah, but it's the accumulation of all of that time of poor habits kind of gets you to a point. So you can pick it up and start it right now and make a huge difference to your quality of life now and into the future. So,
Can I ask what your kids thought when Mum decided to start bodybuilding?
Yeah, good question.
How old are your kids?
So the youngest is 21,
Yes.
and my eldest son is 23, and then my partner has a 21 and 24-year-old.
Oh,
right?
nice. Yeah.
So my boys, the eldest, he's actually a bit of a genetic freak like you, and he loves being in the gym. He's just not particularly disciplined. So a really great bodybuilder has good muscle, is sitting over here. Great muscle, can drop fat very easily, and is extremely disciplined. Right, he's got 2 of the 3. But when he does, get into the gym or starts cutting, he looks immaculate. So he's very supportive of what I do, and he's got a natural fitness mentality. My youngest has, he's almost like, if you do fitness, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So, Pat, he's a Sparky. What I'm really proud of is 21, and he just bought his first house.
Wow.
With no help from me, right? So
yeah.
it's kind of unheard of. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. So he's
How did he do that?
he's a tight ass for starters.
They said Tyler.
That's because he's been in the gym.
No, he's a tight ass. He's just had that goal since he was 16. So even when they're all buying their first cars, his mates are all buying the Fords. He went and got a vintage Beetle and then held onto it and then sold it. 5 years later for 3 times as much. So he's got a very smart way of working. And he's just saved. That's his goal, has been his goal for forever and a day.
Funny.
Yeah. So he's almost got the discipline and then the zero interest in nutrition and fitness.
So he likes the donuts.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So you put your 2 kids together, they're the perfect package.
They're the Arnold without
They
the
balance
steroids.
each other out.
So what's the goal? Where do you want to go with this?
Bodybuilding in general, or
for you, Nicola?
Look, I think bodybuilding for me, winning my pro card was potentially one of the pinnacle moments of my life. I really love it. It's something that I enjoy. I would like to win my overall as a professional athlete as well. So I will be competing on a professional stage at some stage. I'm pretty sure season A next year is calling me. But I have a business I'm starting as well. So I do have to kind of work my way with gym and starting a business and everything that brings. So yeah, my goal now is to obviously start my business, but still compete as a professional athlete and win as a professional athlete.
So will you still be a policewoman and your business?
The goal is to eventually phase out the policing side of my lifestyle and bring in the business side and really ramp that up. So I've never done business before. It's very new to me, but it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. So I have a feeling that this will take over.
And what's your business?
So it's at the moment I'm in the testing sampling phase.
Yeah.
So I've designed a product. It's a women's health product, and it's currently not available for purchase anywhere in Australia. So I'll be the first company within Australia to offer this particular product, and the second company globally. So there's one company globally that does provide it, but I've improved the product, made it my own, designed my own sort of spin on it, and I'm going to be bringing it out hopefully January next year.
Good on you.
Wow.
Well
That
done.
sounds exciting.
Very
exciting.
Yeah.
It's
It
something
sounds like you like a challenge, so
I throw my hat in wherever I can. So once I think I'm going to do something, the trick is for me, I need to tell someone. If I'm going to do something, I tell someone. Once I've told them, that's it. I have to then hold myself accountable. So if I've told Kerryn something, I'm like, I can't let Kerryn down. Now I need to do it. So when I decided I was going to start my own business, I thought I'll tell someone and then I've got to do it. So I told my mum, and that's it. Now I'm well into it's been a 2-year-ish process at this stage, and I'm well into hopefully developing and launching by January. So it's
Amazing.
very passionate about it. So I'm excited.
And
So
what's
walk
ahead?
us through what a day looks like for both of you. Let's go individually. What's your day look like?
Okay, so for me, I get up fairly early and I head over to the gym. I've got PT clients in the morning, so I'll train them. I'll eat in meals around that, and then I'll train myself for about an hour. And then I come home and I've usually got a bit of spare time during the day around midday. And then in the afternoon I do nutrition counselling, like online coaching calls with certain clients as well. And then I knock off at about 5, go for a walk. My husband comes home and, we'll have a meal together, or our separate meals together.
He eats very differently to you. Then,
No, he's also, I train him as well. He just has a different, and not to be disrespectful. Oh, no, you're not actually, you don't have a bland, boring, repeatable. No. My husband will just eat chicken, rice and broccoli every day, and that would just kill me to have no variety. So he does that and I eat nice food. And then we just, spend evenings together or,
It's great that you girls love your food still, because I think taste is such a beautiful thing in life, isn't it? It's a gift. Yeah. And to have different flavors and things, I think it's great that you can incorporate that into your health and nutrition and still have all the flavors and enjoyment of food.
Absolutely.
And it's all perspective. Like if you go, I'm going on a diet, and you immediately think of terribly bland food, you're never
or even think I'm on a diet.
You'd lose motivation.
Whereas if you can kind of flick it in your head.
I'm on a lifestyle change. That's probably better.
Yeah, exactly. You just flick at the perspective
and
and
eat tasty food.
So what about
everyone's
you?
on a diet, aren't we? I've got a diet, you've got a diet. Your diet is just what you eat. So we're all on a diet. It's just that our diets vary.
Yeah,
true.
So
that's right.
Yeah, I my day depends on if I have the children or not as well. If I've got the children, my day starts a little bit later. But if I don't have the children, I start very early. I'm up at 5. I head straight to the gym, get that done first. That aspect of my life is finished then, so that I know the rest of the day I've got to play with. So once I've finished in the gym, I'll do about 2 hours. I'll go for a walk, probably about an hour and a half. And when I've finished that, I'll start working on my business. I'll make a meal, enjoy some food that I like to make. I love cooking. It's another thing I enjoy doing. So I make some nice food. If I've got the children, I'll pick them up from school and spend some time with them. We'll go for a walk together. If I'm working, I often do an afternoon shift. So I'll start working the afternoon and head into work, and I just always make sure that my thing is that I'll fill my cup first. As long as my cup is full, I can then fill everyone else's cup. But if I'm taking from an empty cup, I'm useless to my children if I haven't done what I need to for me. And I'm in the process of teaching my children, especially my daughter in this day and age, that she can be, I don't want to say selfish, but in inverted commas, selfish, because you need to look after yourself and make sure that you put yourself first so that you can be the best version of yourself for your children, your partner, if you've got one, your work, everyone else. So I fill my cup first and then I can fill everyone else's.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
I love that. Yeah.
So the police.
Yeah.
Tell me about one of the scariest moments
So currently I'm stationed at Brisbane City Watch House. So as you can imagine, it's a very busy area to work. We often work a lot of times under pressure. We don't often know what's going to be coming through our door at any stage of the day. We've got police officers who bring in people from, their suburb, their part of the road, wherever they are, and we have to process these people in order to either bring them before court or things like that. So we often don't know in what stage of their life these people are at, so they can often be quite stressed, upset, angry. There are some quite lovely people that we get through, and I often try to manage each person individually as to how I think that they would react well to me. Communication plays a massive role in our position with what we do. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. When you're battling against things like you'll see a lot of substance abuse and things like that. It's just our general day-to-day clients where we are, and I've suffered a few injuries through my career, and my jaw has been dislocated twice.
Did you get punched?
So the first one was a fist,
Wow.
and the second one was an elbow.
Oh,
so
no.
they often do whatever they can. They don't often, sometimes they're not aware of their actions and things like that, because they can be under the influence of different substances and things like that. So we just manage the situation as best we can, and because we work in such a large sort of building, we can manage things quite appropriately. So we do often have scary moments and things do happen, injuries do happen, but
I have to say your jaw came back together just perfect.
Thank you. I have had issues with I think it's the TMJ joint within my jaw since then, and the left-hand side, it sometimes will click in and out of place, but just something I've got to learn to live with, unfortunately. So it's all part of the job. So it can be quite scary at times, but deep down I do love the fact that I've been able to work in the profession that I chose from when I was 6-year-old, and the teacher asks you what you want to do when you grow up, and I've always said I want to be a police officer.
Wow.
So that was my goal.
And you've learned self-defense, have you, with that as well?
No, I think with bodybuilding I've learned that strength can play a good part in it, but oftentimes the people that we deal with, they're not aware of what their surroundings are. They don't know what they're doing and how they're acting. They just don't want to be where they are. So I often do pull on the fact that I'm quite a strong person physically, but like I said, more often than not, we like to use communication and things like that in order to diffuse a situation, as opposed to having to go, as we call it, sort of hands-on, using different tactics like that. We just sort of try and keep it to a minimum and communicate as best we can. So I mean, self-defense is obviously very handy for people in those sorts of situations, but unfortunately at this stage I haven't started to go down that track, but maybe that's something I could look at doing
There you go.
to avoid these sorts of scenarios in the future.
Yes. Definitely the strength building helps in that situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, and people often don't realise, because we wear a uniform and we all look the same, and it covers obviously a lot of our body. If I was to be wearing what I wore to the gym to work, I think people would kind of maybe look at me and go, I might not take that one on today, but it can be quite deceiving, wearing a uniform and they don't really see what's underneath that. So we can be quite strong and which works in our favour, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, Nick, you're a professional bodybuilder, and it's obvious that you take care of yourself. Your muscles are visible. I'm just really curious, how is that perceived publicly?
I think it varies from place to place. Where I go to certain suburbs, certain areas, things like that, you'll notice that people look at you differently. So if I'm in the gym, obviously people look at me, and majority of the time people look up to me and sort of say, oh, well, how are you doing this? They'll look at you doing a particular exercise, and you'll have to you can show them how it's done, because they'll look at you and say, oh, I've never done that before, and you push someone to try something different. But also it works obviously in the opposite regard, where I was walking through a supermarket with my children one day, and obviously I'd finished in the gym and I didn't get changed. I still had my gym gear on, and this a lady approached me and told me that she felt that I was quite disgusting. So in her opinion, obviously my body type wasn't appealing to her. And obviously I'm very aware of the fact that my body type isn't appealing to everybody.
Could she keep that to herself?
That's the thing, exactly. I think that a lot of us have a filter in that regard, and we can sort of keep our opinions, to ourselves, but obviously some people don't. And I think it's teaching my children a lot that people are entitled to their own opinion, but I also took it and I said to the kids afterwards, I said, that lady, she obviously didn't like the way that mummy looked, and that's okay. Not everybody has to like us. Not everyone has to think that what we're doing is right, but as long as we're healthy and we're looking after ourselves, and, I sort of tried to put a bit of a positive spin on it and, made it so that, maybe she's had a bad day and, isn't necessarily feeling the best within herself. So, and I sort of made it more of, let's be kind to people with my children, I've often said to people who wonder why I do what I do, and I think there are lots of athletes out there who are televised, cricketers, footballers, swimmers, Olympians, things like that. And a lot of parents probably rely on those people to be instrumental in their children's lives, whereas I've flipped that, and I want to be the one that's instrumental in my children's lives, and I want to be the one that my children look up to instead of me relying on a sports star. My children could look up to their own mother and say, well, I want to be just like my mum when I grow up, as opposed to I want to be like that singer or that footballer or something like that. So
we really are living in a world where everyone has to voice their opinion, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's really good, but other times people just, whether it's a jealousy thing or I'm not too sure, but it's they sort of do take it upon themselves to sort of impress their opinion on you. And a lot of the time, yes, it's not warranted. And I like to think that I would treat everyone with respect. And with this lady, I just said, well, you're more than welcome to your opinion, and that's fine. But obviously when I'm with my children and you're in essence body shaming someone who's trying to do her best, when there's lots of people out there who are body shamed for obviously different reasons and looking at a different way completely to what I look. I also obviously get that from a different perspective. So it's no one is immune from being body shamed, because I in fact have been body shamed, and it makes life difficult when you are overtly trying your best to put your best self forward and do the best thing and make yourself the best version of yourself, and people will still take it upon themselves to shame you in front of people. And
which is strange, because like you're saying, the other end of it, body shaming, say maybe overweight people, I think they'd be less likely to go up and say to them that you look disgusting, the way that she said that to you, who like the two opposite ends.
Probably says more about themselves, really, in essence. And so, it just says we just have to be happy with who we are.
Exactly.
And,
Absolutely.
as long as we are content within ourselves, that's all that really matters.
Exactly. And with all the body positivity things that are being thrown out these days with the, I don't want to say larger models, but, the normal sort of models that are coming out these days, as opposed to what was normalised in the earlier days where it was all very stick figure sort of women. You can sort of be either end of the spectrum and still have those issues with where the community is concerned, and different people viewing how you look, and everyone's opinion is subjective, and you just have to kind of live with that and know that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, which I'm definitely not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, because not everyone's going to like everyone anyway.
Exactly.
So that's just how it is.
So I think we're ready for gold.
I think we are.
How are we going to do this? Because we've never done this where we're together.
Or maybe we just say something each.
Okay. Well, I can go first. I really love the fact that, I'll start with you, Nick, that I've heard you say numerous times you want to be a good example to your kids. And that seems like that's your primary goal. I think that's just such a beautiful thing. And you're doing it by discipline and showing that taking care of your health, taking care of your mental health, but still being present in their life is really important. And I can see balance throughout your life, even though you're a busy mum and you've got as you said, you've thrown your hat into lots of things. It seems that the structure in your life is well balanced. And I loved it when you talked about going up on stage. You love getting up on stage, but if you were to get rejected and that, it feels like you're in a really positive space with that. And I can imagine in that world, it's a very difficult place to be positive when you haven't reached your goal and to keep going. So the stamina and endurance that you have to want to keep going for those goals is very commendable, and I congratulate you on all your wins, and I know you're going to keep going.
Thank you.
And Kerryn, for you, like, to have changed your direction so sharply, but clearly it brings you joy and a lot of fulfillment, but then you're sharing that enjoyment and that process that you've took with other people and getting great fulfillment out of seeing success in others. And it seems like, again, you have a really well balanced life. And I totally admire the fact that you were 44
when I started. Yeah.
when you started. Like, that's so inspiring for women of our age, because it's not a common story, but we are hearing so regularly now that getting into strength training is so important for perimenopausal women as we age. I recently started it, maybe 18 months ago, not to your extent, but only because I know it's good for bone health, it's good for physical health to be able to lift. I found my mobility has been a lot better. I know Beck and I, when we started walking, you said yourself you'd been suffering with sciatica, just movement in general. So I think projecting that message out there is so vital and so important, and is life-changing for women of our age. So I commend you on that. Yes. Go for it, Beck. I haven't left you with much, have I?
Just expand on what you're saying. So definitely, it's so important to look after ourselves, isn't it, as women? And we are busy. Women are very busy, and often we do forget to keep our health as a priority. But Nicola, I loved listening to your story and hearing about how you've extended yourself in each phase. And I don't think that's necessarily been easy for you. I think it's taken a lot of courage. And I get the feeling that when you went through your divorce and just changes in life, even with your job as a policewoman, I feel like that's the challenges in that role, you're continually extending yourself to fit what is required there. And so you're upping your courage each time. And I feel like, once again, with this bodybuilding, like you said, when you put your mind to do something, you'll tell someone, so that then you have to up your courage and actually do it. So I feel like that is a really positive strength that you have, because it's coming from a weakness. It's coming from a point of, oh, can I do this? But it's a determination you flick on and you go, I am going to step on into that and push myself to do that, even though you know it's a bit of a jump for you. But then you do it, and then you continually push yourself and propel yourself forward into that place, and until you're shining like you are now.
That's beautiful. This is one of those things.
So well done to you.
Thank you.
And Kerryn, I love that you've been obviously shooting for high goals your whole life. You're very successful in everything you do. So you've already got this determination that you want to be the best in everything, which is great, and it's shown success throughout your life. And then to get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm not finished yet. And then you just up it again, and in your 40s, and you've got these 4 children who are watching, and same with you, with your children watching. It's a great example, but you've just gone into this next step of, I want to do something really good for myself so that I can keep going for the next half of my life. And I think this is going to put you both in that place of, just because you're high achievers, and your physical side will be able to keep up with your continual high achievements in your life. And you're also both very friendly and warm, which I love. You're not just focus on, I'm just this, but you've got this lovely motherly warmness about you both, which I really love as well.
Beautiful.
So
Thank you.
lovely to meet you both.
So final question is, how is Christy doing? Pretend she's not in the room right now. Is she going to make it?
Oh, 100%. She's incredible. Honestly, every time I see her, I notice the changes, and she's honestly, and it's not just the physical side of things either. You can really tell that she's feeling it within herself. She's healthier. She's happier. She's even bringing her husband along the ride with her. So she's also then motivating others too. So she's really embracing the journey and taking it all in her stride, because it's not easy.
So we're putting it out there. Christy's aim is to appear where?
You haven't. Oh, she's left.
No, she's right there.
We haven't.
She's hiding behind you, so you can't see her.
We haven't completely 100% nailed which federation, but you're looking at season B next year. So that's around this time. The season starts through to the end of October. Because it's such a long slog to get there, I try to get clients to do as many shows as they possibly can while they're at the leanest they'll ever be, because you want to get in do your thing and then get back to being healthy as quickly as possible. So that's what we're aiming for this time next year.
Okay.
She wants to do the category. It's a newer category called wellness. So it's where women are. I was about to say Beyonce. It's not Beyonce. What it is, it's more developed lower body, less developed. Still quite fit and muscular up the top, but it's just a stronger muscular bottom half. And given her figure skating,
history,
there's a good chance she'll end up doing quite well in that.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we wish you all the best and thank you so much for being with us today.
For having us.
Been a pleasure.
And how can anybody follow you or get in touch if they want to become a client, if you've got openings?
Absolutely. Probably easiest way is just to find me on Instagram. So you'll find me at bodygoal.nutritionist. That's me, Kerryn Waters. You'll find it there as well. And my website's highbar.com.au.
Wonderful.
Business.
And Nicola, if anyone wants to follow along and watch your journey.
Yeah, well, that's correct. I've got a few little avenues, but my main one obviously would be my Instagram as well. Mine's at Nick_Ms Fitness Pro, and you'll hear it first here, I suppose. My business name will be Just Between Us. So that's the business name. It's Just Between Us. And my product is going to be called Après.
Wonderful.
I thought you were saying just between
That's
us.
what
I thought that too.
It's like,
keep
this
that
is
just
going
between
on a
us.
podcast.
Just between us. No,
Everyone's going to hear it.
Oh, it's very exciting. So it will just be a product that can be quite discreet. So it's just going to be between us. So the business name is Just Between Us.
Great.
Beautiful.
Well done.
Well, thanks again. It was great to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
So we just had Bodybuilders.
Were those ladies so lovely to chat to?
They were. And very impressive to look at. Isn't it inspiring when you see women that just take care of themselves?
Well, I think there's so many different ways to take care of yourself, isn't there?
Yeah.
And these ladies have done it this way and they've done it successfully, which is great.
One of the things I really found interesting was what Kerryn said was, when she talked about the Dolly magazine and really having that impression as a young person, you have to be really slim, you can only eat lettuce. And there really is so much pressure, and it still exists today, on young people that you've got to be this picture perfect model. And I think that really does start, and I think Nick touched on it about body dysmorphia. And in this industry, I'm sure that plays into it. And it's a real concern, isn't it? Because I think we all have those feelings like, oh, I'm not happy with this bit. Kerryn was saying she'd go past the mirror and she'd kind of squeeze the little bits that she's not comfortable with. And as women in particular, I think we do have those thoughts, don't we?
I think society is very image conscious. And I remember the time when the Dolly magazine was out. And I would say in a way there was a lot more pressure around that time. I didn't necessarily read the Dolly magazine, but I do remember just the pressure on young girls and the discussion in the media around it and how they were all wanting to look this one particular way. Whereas now I do feel like it's a lot more lenient towards different sizes, different shapes, being happy in yourself, having a good laugh, enjoying your food, but also being healthy. And I think that's the point of it, is being healthy, enjoying your life and living a well-balanced lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think what is the point of having the most beautiful looking body, but you're constantly looking down on yourself and you're not happy in yourself? I don't see the point in that. Thankfully, I think, Nicola and Kerryn have got that pretty well balanced, and we touched on the mental health part, and they did say that body dysmorphia, those things really are part of bodybuilding, and they do have to take control of those thoughts because it is very much focused on my appearance.
And I think the fact that they're aware of that is something that you have to be very aware of, so that you don't fall into the traps of that just being all consuming and just controlling your life. Because I think when you do step out of that size, it could plunge you into depression if that's been your whole life, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, but on the flip side, great admiration for somebody that can be so disciplined and set goals and really discipline your body is so difficult, isn't it? Particularly when they've got chocolate or you smell fresh bread or whatever.
I know, right?
To have that level of discipline where you can say no to those things is impressive. And so I have great admiration for people that can achieve those goals if they've done it in a healthy way. I feel like Kerryn and Nicola have.
They're lovely to talk to. I love their backstories of their lives and in the police and in the corporate world. That was really interesting to see, I guess, where their life led them to get to a point where they wanted to delve deeper into their body exercise routines. Yeah.
And I know sometimes all the best stuff comes when the mics have stopped, hey?
Yes. A lot more conversation came out.
A lot more conversation came out. And, Nicola did actually share that from 17, really, she raised herself. She's, she's a woman that's raising 2 kids on her own, a policewoman, starting a business, doing a professional bodybuilding. Life is busy, but it's important that we are a great example to our kids in everything that we do, and that's her priority number 1. So that was really impressive to me.
Yeah, and whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And on that note, Ange, I'm getting hungry. I think some Porto chips might be calling me.
We just listened to nothing that they said about nutrition, basically. Let's go.
Start that diet tomorrow.
So that's it for today's podcast. You'll find us on all the major podcast platforms. The podcasts come out every Wednesday. We'd love to hear from you on our socials, the Gold Diggers Podcast. Tell us about your story so we can find the gold in you.
Easy as pie, lemon, apple or cherry. Loving you is so very sweet, sweet, sweet. How can it be such a piece of cake? And your smile is the icing. Loving you is a party. Honey, you're my sugar.